Hey everybody, what's going on? Alan here. Welcome to the Gibson Garage Speed Shop YouTube channel, and thank you for tuning in, for following along, liking, subscribing, leaving comments, all that good stuff. If you want more day-to-day content, this last week's been a little slow, I'll give you that. Hit up my social medias, my other social medias, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. You'll get more day-to-day or as often as I'm working and putting stuff out, short videos. In this video, in this week, we're going to try to wrap up a little bit more of the wiring. I know it sounds a little more, I know it sounds a little boring. I just got to drill some more holes, cut some more holes, put the wiring in. I want to try and get the battery bolted down to the tunnel, the transmission tunnel. And if that doesn't take too long, I'd like to go try and find some spacers, some actual good spacers and bolts to finish the bedside project, because that's still just kind of hanging on by a thread. I've actually only got 3 out of 4 bolts on each side with spacers that are a little bit too large for my liking. If I can get a little bit shorter spacers, I can close that gap for 1, and 2, it'll bring this frame that I built further onto the truck frame. Right now it's barely hanging on, man, but it's worked out pretty good so far. Trial and error, but it's coming together. If you've been following along, you know last week we patched up this big section here, got rid of all these dimples and the square hole where the harness went through, and the holes that I had drilled the first attempt to put my new harness through. But I decided after patching this up, I want to put it actually right there, kind of where that hole is, but more below it, below this body line, and a second hole right over here by that little hole for the lighting harness front and back, and the fuel pump and evap harness also is all got to come back into the firewall, into the cabin, connect to the computer too. Alright, we're gonna tack this thing in place. We got lucky with the plug size there. I actually made a plug with the next size hole saw up than what made the hole in the firewall. It's just about dinner time and I am done. I've got these holes all patched up. No problems there. I patched up a couple screw holes here and along the top over there. And I've got these 2 holes here patched up. Right there and right there. Got the old throttle pedal holes patched up. No problems there. So just gotta sand it all down and then spray it all with some etching primer. Alright, next morning, let's start sanding. I'm just kidding. It's actually pretty light, I think, for a vehicle made out of steel. Alright, got all the welds grinded down, and I just actually need to go through and chop off a couple of these studs here and there and there. And I'm tossing around if I should just fix these 2 parts too, because I thought I was done, and then I realized I don't, you know, I put rivets here. This is where the coolant bottle used to hang, but then I put rivets in place where the nuts used to go so I could use cool screws, and kind of ruined it. So, but now I think I just want to make them flat again. Other than that, this would be ready for the prep disc here and get it cleaned up a little more before I throw some etching primer on it. You know, got to remove these. Okay, I couldn't help it. I went and fixed these up too. They're sitting in place. I just got to tack them up and sand it out like everything else here. It's not looking too bad. And that's it, I swear. After that, that's the last thing. Alright, so I'm planning on where to make my 2 holes, and I've got it figured out finally. And if you're getting one of these Holly Terminator style bulkhead things, it's probably going to be a 2-inch hole here that you're going to actually have to drill, and then it's a 3-inch overall diameter, so a 1/2-inch flange right all the way around, and it's 3 inches, right? So you take a 3-inch hole saw and you can use that to judge, you know, where it's going to fit, the flange and everything. And I put mine, I used this first of all to find a center between the tunnel, which is about 10 inches wide, so I picked 5, eyeballed it, not a big deal. But then, instead of trying to measure and get level, I was like, well, let's just put it all the way forward and all the way up as we can get. And, you know, I got a hole here, and on this side, if I go all the way left and all the way up, as far as keeping it on a flat surface, I got one right there. And that coincidentally was exactly 3.5 inches from the center line. 3.5 inches here, 3.5 inches here is where I'll be drilling the holes. Get myself a little dimple where I think the center is. So I actually went and got a step bit that stops, that ends at 2 inches, goes from 1/4 inch to 2 inch, because a hole saw can be kind of sloppy. You know what I mean? If you've ever used hole saws, you know they can actually cut a little bigger than what they're designed to do because they wobble just a little bit. And that could be because of the brand of hole saw. I don't know. You know, just that center piece being, or that center drill bit being just slightly off center. There it is, one hole done. I'll get the other one done real quick.
Ooh, this thing's hard to control.
Alright, got those cleaned up. Now I'm just going to drill these side holes. Alright, so I'm just gonna start with light coats and go slow. I'm not looking for perfection, I'm just trying to keep away the rust. I would like to, you know, body work the whole truck eventually. I should take that off. No, we're doing splatter paint. Oh, that's better. A couple coats are on. Just gotta let that guy dry up. And then we can be done with the firewall finally. Alright, with the firewall dry now, I was able to get the bolt connectors in for both of them. I actually had to take it all off of the engine and feed it this way because the big connectors wouldn't go that way through the 2-inch hole. So, but it's all done. It took like a whole day, but we're back to square one again. Firewall finished. Wires are inside where I want them to be. These are the wires for the fuel pump and like vapor canister. Also, when I hook up the transmission range sensor on the pivot shaft, all that wiring is going to come through this one too, along with the wiring for the brake lights and stuff. I'll have to cut this connector off and continue my own wires on through. But now we can finish this up. Let's get these connectors back on and get the wires crimped and get them in place, connected to the starter and to the ground. Let's see if it goes in like that, and we want that like that. Now, did it crimp on the wire, or did the dies just bottom out? Might have worked. There's a car show this Friday at here in Orville called the Show and Stroll. I was kind of hoping to make it to it with the truck, I mean. But I don't think I'll get this done in 4 days.
Yeah.
I'm also going to be connecting the power wire from the alternator underneath, kind of like in the stock location under the crank pulley, to meet up with this wire here at the starter. So we'll just finger tighten that for now. And this ground wire, let's see. I'm gonna put one of these weird washers on the bottom. Helps dig it into the metal. Oh, but we need to also add this wire for the body. And this wire for the cylinder head. Let's do it like this so it doesn't look as goofy. This guy will go right here. Or should we do it behind this ground wire over there? Should we put it over there? Yeah. Let's hide it behind the big fat black ground wire. There we go. Let's put it on that side. Nice happy little home. It's got a tree friend there. I think we curve that one like that. That one's curved like that. These kind of kick back. Just like so. And that's the ground and power situation to the firewall. And then I'll run that power wire from here underneath the pulley up to the back of the alternator. It'll be a matching one just like this from Harbor Freight. Alright, I got some more cables to do the alternator, and then we can be done, I think, at least for now, with the outside wiring. I'm cutting those lugs that came on it off because I need 5/16 lugs. Those are 3/8. First I need to measure what the old length was and put the new one to size. About there. It's pretty much 5 feet.
feed that through to the starter. And hook this thing up in its factory location. There we go.
Alright, I got everything buttoned up on the outside for now. As far as I know, there's probably 100 things I'm forgetting about that I'll have to do later. But I got the power wire hooked up to the alternator. Got a little fastener there. And I'm using the factory plastic, thing there. And that's going over to the starter. So you can see through that hole in the exhaust heat shield. Now off the starter it goes to this bulkhead, and all the grounds are tight on both sides. On the heads are tight in the back. All the connections are plugged in top to bottom. So now we can move into the cab finally. Alright, first things first, we got to get this battery tray installed. And I need to see if it's going to fit. Install it sideways. Cable's in the way there. I can build some legs, I guess, but then it definitely won't fit under the dash. Battery barely fit as it was under the dash without the tray. I'm not even sure that the tray will let it fit. It definitely won't if we put it up on stands. Oh, this thing is heavier than anything. Goodness. Almost makes me want to put it in the back now. I don't have enough cable for that. Well, there's room this way, but I wanted it turned around. It fits. I'm gonna have to shave off like a nub, this nub here. And this terminal isn't even tight. I can get it to sit maybe a tiny bit lower. Okay. So yeah, that's gonna be it. It's gonna sit a little off center. And boom. Okay, let's drill some holes. Perfect. Now, how am I going to get under there to hold the nuts? Well, that puppy's in nice and tight. Even though it's only 4 out of 6, it's fine. It's gonna be fine. I do want to install the battery, so let's see what it looks like. You know, I want to wait for the paint to dry before I hook up these connectors and run the cables, but we can get the battery in there and locked in place, see what that looks like at least. Okay. Nope, don't throw your back out. Oh, Jesus. If I try this any further, I'd tip over. Exactly. Right? And this is one of the reasons I picked, or this is the reason I picked this style, is because it clamps on the bottom. Nothing going over the top of the battery. Just takes a bolt and a washer on each side. Okay, it's the next day and the paint has had time to dry, so now we can get back on putting the cables to the battery. I've got all my tools here, my crimper and my cutter, my lugs and my heat shrink. I just need to get in here and measure out the length, so to speak. I don't know. But I think eventually I want to get just a piece of metal that kind of covers this, just a 90-degree bend. A little fancier than that, but I'm essentially going to put it right here, put them both right here, just like that, which means this one's going to come up here to the positive. We'll give it some room here. We'll cut that one right there. No turning back. So we'll do that. We'll go straight up from there. Cut it right there. Okay, these are 3/8. I don't have fudge. These came with 3/8 lugs on them, but I just cut them off. Obviously they're way too long anyway. So looks like we're drilling these holes out a little bit. Okay, now for this one, let's see if we can get this bolted up. And the truck is now grounded. And the truck now has power. All right, that is done. And these guys will be for like what all my other accessories, for the harness, whatever. I don't even know yet. I've got this fuse box here that'll let me do 10 relays and then like 11 fuses or something like that, or like 15 fuses. And then so we'll hook that up, and I'm also getting like the electric fans with that relay harness, so those relays will need a place to go, and we're just going to keep it all condensed in one new box. That's not going to be a whole nother YouTube video though. You'll have to stay in touch by subscribing to my other social media outlets on Instagram, Facebook. Actually, TikTok is where I edit my phone videos, and then I just share it to Instagram and Facebook. They usually get the same video, so whichever one works for you. But that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I appreciate you following along and hanging in there, and you know, liking, subscribing, all that stuff helps out. It can't grow without you, so thank you. Please continue to support the channel. And if you got any comments, leave them down below about the truck. What you think of the wiring? If you got any tips or tricks or anything like that, let me know. Let the whole world know, right? But until next time, peace.